If I had to believe the internet, Drakengard was a painfully yet niche cult classic of its time that over the years aged like milk. If you are to try this game in 2024, you better only play through the first 4 endings on easy and drop the game and watch the final ending on YouTube. That, my fellow people, sounds like a challenge. Hi, I'm Esotic, and I have been sucked into the near Drakengard universe after playing Automata and completely sunk into the hyperfixation after playing Replicant. I have since then spent many hours in both games, gone through all the main story parts of the now shut down mobile game Reincarnation, and played my way through the Platinum Trophy of Drakengard 3. Knowing the pain that was ending these boss rhythm game in Drakengard 3, and ironically some of Accord's missions that were far more frustrating to deal with, I was left with an appetite for more. And thus, I rolled up my sleeves and decided to start Drakengard 1. I researched how to best get through all the endings, and yes, all endings, because there's no way I am going to let the internet win. And with this video, I hope to inspire you to do the same. You see, while yes, the game isn't for the faint-hearted, it's hardly as bad as people online will make you believe. That is, if you are willing to set aside some time for it, keep your patience, and know when to drop it and go outside to touch some grass. I did play the majority of the game on easy, but not because of the difficulty, but because when I started on normal, I did not have the stamina to get through some of the starting missions that easily eat away an hour of your time, mindlessly chopping through hordes and hordes of enemies. Which doesn't sound too complicated. If you ignore the fact that camera controls are extremely clunky, the game doesn't hold your hands and so you easily miss certain combos that will make your life easier. Not to mention that the game doesn't respect your time at all, making all that hard work for nothing by dying to an enemy you missed at the end of your mission, setting you all the way back to the start. Yes, truly the Yoko Taro experience. Something that's definitely not been lost among the games that came from this first underrated cult classic. When I finally figured out that chaining enemies over 10 consecutive hits would make them drop health orbs, your sword flashing light means you are to hit the triangle for a power move, and you can summon allies after a few chapters, my life became much easier with this game. So I set some time per week away to cut myself away through this game, and after some months I had finally beaten the first 4 endings. And that's where the real grind begins, because to unlock ending E, the 5th ending, you need to find 65 weapons throughout the game. One big misconception online with that seems to be that people give up because they heard or believe that you need to max out each weapon as well, which in order to level a weapon to max requires you to kill tremendous amounts of enemies. Now, I can safely tell you, you don't. Nope, there is no need to grind even more to max out weapons in order to unlock the last ending. But if you somehow feel like doing so, I of course won't stop you. Like I mentioned before, you can play the biggest portion of the game on easy to save you a ton of time. There's only a couple of missions that need to be done on normal in order to unlock their weapon chests. You can summon allies through some of these, and let me tell you, using Auroch's heavy magic attack by holding the triangle button for a couple of seconds will seriously make your life so much easier. Her heavy magic skill is quite overpowered, and Thanos snaps enemies on the map out of existence. So if you made it to this point of the video, and you're like, you know what? I actually maybe should give Drakengard a try. Here are some of my tips to get through it with leaving some of your sanity intact. Number 1. Doing research will help you a lot with this game. I'll link some of the Reddit posts and game facts guides that really helped me down below. Number 2. Don't try to beat this within a few weeks. It's an experience that grows with you. Sure, if you want, you can spend hours per day getting through it and you'll probably beat it in no time. Or rage quit in no time. But by setting just 1 or 2 hours per day a couple of times per week away, the experience of this game will seriously grow on you. You'll have time to process the madness that's actually going on in this world and appreciate the journey it's forcing you to go through. Also, let's not forget this game is from 2003. Games from this era were made to keep us busy. Number 3, if you make it to ending E, practice, practice, practice. What helped me in the end was to have a small note as a cheat sheet on the edge of my monitor and just mindlessly practice. Every time I went in with the mindset of going to clear it, I failed. But the moment I just went with the, let's go with this insanity practice, that's where I cleared it. Also, don't make it a competition. Don't worry about how long it took you. Just practice. You'll get it. I believe in you. Now, we've been teased earlier this year that Yoko Taro, Yusuke Saito, and Keiichi Okabe are working on a new project, and then it might or might not be near. And there's plenty of fans out there who really wish for a remaster or remake of the Drakengard trilogy. I myself am amongst these. And here's some of my wishes that I'd love to see if they do plan to remaster or remake the games. Don't change the story. Don't censor. While yes, there is a lot of crazy and controversial topics that are covered in the game, it's not that obvious in your face. I quite often see the remarks being made that some of the stuff they somehow managed to get approved to be put into the game would never be approved now. But in retrospective, if you look at the Nier games, there's quite some controversial topics covered there as well. Yoko Taro mentioned once in an interview that he put stuff in his games simply because they exist, like Kaine, who is intersex, or Emil, who is gay. I personally didn't see any issues with the controversies that were in Drakengard, and before you go at me in the comments, by no means are they romanticized or idolized, but they are a good showcase of how fucked up some of the stuff is that people suppress. And all the more, it adds to the tragedy of the Drakengard story. Another thing I'd love to see for a potential remake is to give it the Replicant Automata engine. I think this is most popular demand for a Drakengard remake, and it's honestly a no-brainer. Drakengard 2 will be up next on my to play, and again, I won't let the internet tell me what to do, and neither should you. And I know I am telling you what to do. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening to me rambling about a game from the early 2000s, and if you liked it, don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications, and I will see you in the next video about probably one of my hyperfixations. Or come watch me play live on Twitch. Anyways, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you the next time.